You were in the middle. Welcome to Tibet, USA. Just a minute ago, we adjusted Phuntsok's microphone. He was in the middle of this beautiful compliment. So I would just like to go back and either replay the original compliment, or if you could somehow make it even more complimentary.
I genuinely wanted to say thank you. Sincerely want to say thank you to you, Mark, for all the things that you do and efforts and support and everything to make this Tibet USA what it is now, and keep this thing going. Without your support, unwavering support, as I said before.
Unwavering support, that was it, yeah.
And
I love it.
This wouldn't be, Tibet USA wouldn't be at this stage as it is now, and it'll going forward. I need to work on to chip in and contribute as much as you do.
I think you're doing great. I think you're too hard on yourself. But I accept your beautiful compliment. It's a podcast I enjoy working on, so it's not like it's work.
Quick question: do we have lights on like that?
Do we have lights on like that?
Yeah.
Listener, can you see those lights on like that?
I mean, it's we try. We don't have cameras, but
it's kind of bright. What, do you want to kill them and get some mood lighting in here?
Where is that?
I don't know. Maybe out that door. Not it.
Sorry. I could see the. I can't focus on.
I bet we can't control this.
Oh.
We got nothing.
Really? No, there should be.
No.
Seriously, it's okay. The glare from your forehead is
Come on, man.
Too tough to focus on. It's
Get out of here. Are we rolling? Fuck this. Let's get out of here. Is this happening? Jeez. Welcome to Tibet, USA, Phuntsok. The glare from your forehead is blinding me right now. Oh, wait a second.
The shiny forehead, which is good. The bigger the forehead, it's considered more fortunate.
Is it in Nepal, Tibet, India? Is that the deal?
It's a culture thing.
Wow.
You know.
So like people like Vin Diesel, the actor, or what's his name? The Rock, who are like bald, pretty much. They're very wise. Is that how it is?
It's considered one of the characteristics of being fortunate.
Fortunate.
Those who have good karma, such. But that doesn't solely depend on the forehead alone. A lot of all other packages has to come together too, right?
Yeah, sure.
Just having a big forehead doesn't only make you fortunate. Yeah. That's what just the cultural whatever conditioning that I came from. I've learned from there.
Wow.
We started recording now?
We're recording, yeah. We've been recording through all of this mayhem of getting set up. Should we start properly now? Should we welcome our listeners to Tibet, USA?
Yeah. Welcome to Tibet, USA, Mark.
Welcome to Tibet, USA, Phuntsok. Thank you.
Great.
How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you.
It's very bright in here. We've tried to fix that. We can't, so we're just going to have to go with it.
Yeah.
You're wearing a very bright red jacket on.
Is it too distracting for you?
No, it's great.
I can take off.
It's just unusual that I haven't seen it before. It's like a track jacket. You going running after this?
This red jacket, many of the times when I dress up, I don't even think why I'm dressing up. So, but it's not that I'm not mindful of the texture and the thickness of that. The color-wise, I don't check and see it's blending in and or matching with this and that. I need to work on, because people tend to judge from from outside outlook and all such. So thank you for bringing this.
Thank you for judging you from the outside just there.
And it's interesting that I have to shift my sometimes focus on what others think.
That is kind of true.
Even though it shouldn't be that, because what others think is based on their own conditioning and biases and all that upbringing and such. So, and their comment doesn't actually empirically means anything to me, because it's what I'm going through. I know what I'm going through. I have to be observant and mindful of the reality within me. But at the same time, to extend that mindfulness to see what others thinking, it's actually draining a lot of energy these days, because especially with this day and age, with the social media, you're trying to prove something to the world that, okay, this I'm eating now, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Just drawing a sense of happiness out of people's validations and likes and followers and all that.
Do you do that? Do you draw satisfaction and approval from that kind of
Good question.
affirmation?
So without jumping on to say yes or no, let me take this further.
Oh, you're going to go political on me.
Oh, really?
The political answer.
Political answer?
Let me just say, and then totally different answer. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, when you said political thing,
I can relate to what you just said a little bit before you, if I can interrupt you.
Sure.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's scratching my beard. Yeah, it's kind of gross.
You're trying to be mindful of the sensations.
Yeah, and the sounds.
Underneath your neck with the beard,
Yeah.
not unshaved.
And we're wearing these.
So it's a mindfulness.
headphones. Mindfulness.
Mindfulness of sensation.
Yeah.
You're scratching your chest.
I know. So now I'm just scratching everywhere because I feel like I
thought
started something.
we evolved from that. Human evolution evolved from that.
Not this guy.
From chimpanzee to
Not this guy.
Still.
No, I'm way back there still. I'm
Just going back to
Cro-Magnon.
what you were going to say about validations and people's approval, what people think of you. Does it affect you much? Do you take those into consideration? Are you conditioned to such a bit?
Me personally? Yes and no. Like you said, most of the time I don't care what people think of me. And I guess it's which me we're talking about. Is it the me at home? Is it the me at work? Is it the me walking down the street, walking my dog in the summertime, wearing a ridiculous outfit because it's hot out and it's comfortable and I don't care what I look like? Or is it me with my family and extended family and everyone's having a conversation about something? And
So it's contextual.
Super contextual, yeah.
Well said.
I think overall, I don't think I really bow down to that master of approval. I don't feel like I need anybody's approval, which works against me sometimes, but I think most of the time works for me.
In my tradition, can I use an metaphor? You know, like a singing, not swinging. What is it called? Like a cymbal pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
See, feels when you keep the pendulum balance, it'll swing perfect, right? So if you keep it tilted, it swings this way, right? So when somebody praises you and you're tilted, oh yeah, excited, it tilts there. So now it's tilting, right? So now when somebody is not praising you, it's already down there, see? So keep it balanced so that that when somebody praises you, say thank you, appreciate it, right? Good. And somebody says, you are such and such. Okay, thank you. So I'm trying to say is that
That's good.
validations and people's feedback, sometimes this is more to do with the people who is commenting it, but at the same time, accept it in the sense as acknowledge it, we listen to it, and but we shouldn't function our life based off of people's approval and what people think, and then we will not be able to be centered and stay grounded. So we will be swinging like a pendulum on this side. If you swing this much to this too high on that aesthetic kind of excited, up here praising you, and then pendulum will go down the swing on the other side too, right? It didn't work, but you kind of know what I'm trying to say.
I see it. Growing up, was there a need for culturally a need for approval? As a young person, did you need that, or did you sort of have your own built-in compass of what you wanted to do, and it didn't matter what anybody thought about it?
Like anything else in life, teaches you lesson, and you grow. As you grow, and you will have more and more wisdom. So growing up, I used to get bothered a lot by people's comments and such, and I'm grateful for those experiences, because now I know what I've gone through, and through that experience I've gained those wisdoms. And
so criticisms you're talking about, when people gave you harsh criticisms, maybe unwarranted or deserved, and you didn't like that?
Yeah, I was too, yes, criticisms or feedbacks. Feedback these days, there's all these trainings on how to take feedbacks, right? Yeah. There's a whole episode there, and which we can go on and talk about it. But like you said, it's very contextual, where you at, what you're doing, and in that very moment, it decides what is the situation about, right? So personally, like you said, you're walking down the street and with your dog and family and such. So it's all contextual. Are you want to go jump on that, or you just want to change the course of the topic? Because
Phuntsok, I just like hearing you talk.
Oh. But being in the moment.
Welcome to Tibet, USA.
Being in the moment, being present, and whatever is going on, just be in that moment and witnessing it, be aware of it, that actually will take care of the rest of most of it, I think. So I just don't have one set thing that, hey, this is that, but in that moment, at that time, if you are in that present moment, you are accepting that situation as it is. Like the river is, flowing. It's not getting stuck at that rock.
Yeah.
So just let go and accept it, and then acknowledge it, and see what is there to learn, and be open-minded about it, and see what you can do to improve that situation. A criticism or a praise, I think it'll go a long way. And that's how you
mature, I think, is the word that I see.
Yes.
A tool that helped me in my big feelings that I've always had about stuff, like in my head or in my heart, or when I see something in the world that I love or I hate or whatever. A good tool for me that I wasn't aware of till the past 10, 15 years was just stop and be aware of your feelings, right? Like I should have learned that when I wish I was 5 years old when I heard that, right? Because you can be mad, or you can be sad, or you can be extremely happy, or you could be disappointed in yourself or somebody else, or very moved by somebody else. And if you don't know how to just kind of pause and recognize that, I feel like that inability to just kind of identify that feeling and let it live in there for a minute caused missteps for me. And it caused me to be immature, even more immature than I am now.
Very good point.
I don't know. That's more like a cognitive therapy kind of thing.
No, actually, this is it is cognitive therapy. It's one of the mindfulness techniques we Buddhists do. I shouldn't say we Buddhists, but a lot of people do, and I'm sure a lot of people do this. It's just to pause for a moment, and whatever is going on, just pause for a moment, and then be in that moment. And there's a different tools to be centered and be grounded. What I mean is just connect with who you are within. Different tools to do that. But in the locker room, can I tell you, at the gym that we go to, you often saw me by my locker, sitting there like this, right? So that was actually, I was trying to be mindful of what just happened, right? Mindful of the sensation, mindful of breathing, just to be centered. And often my friends around that locker will think, oh, deep thinking, actually, that it seems like I'm in a deep thought, but I was just trying to be, just paused everything. I just paused. I cannot explain it, but I just paused.
No, you did.
And often I do that before the start of my work. When I get on car and sit there, I pause. I just pause and be in the moment, so that I'm not in an autopilot mode, or my mind is wandering when I'm driving, so that I will be appreciative of what's going on, and I will go to work with the attitude of gratitude and kind of thing. Different tools I blend in and start my day. And for me, pausing, as you said, pause a moment, is a powerful tool. Mark, keep it up, keep that up. It's a powerful tool. One of the mindfulness techniques. This is pausing for a moment, and then carry on again to do the things that you need to do. It gives you a better perspective. It eliminates the stress, and it gives you the clarity of what you're doing, and it will not burn you out.
So mindfulness techniques, that's kind of a good topic.
Mindfulness techniques,
Pausing. And going back a few minutes, taking praise and taking critique, knowing how to do both of those things. That's something I'd like to keep working on. Especially the critique part, right? That's the hard part. It's easy to take praise. Well, it's not easy to take praise. If you did something really well and someone comments on that, sometimes for me, it's hard to accept that. Like, I'll find a way to make a joke about it so it doesn't,
See how much you are affected by that comment. Whether the comment, negative comment, or, it's something unproductive comment for the hard work you put it in. So can I give you another swing here?
Is this a mindfulness technique?
Mindfulness technique.
Let's go.
I work in a company where I deal with a lot of bus drivers, right? So I'm going to use that bus driver metaphor. I think I shared that to you a long time ago. Have you heard of it? I
don't know.
So bus driver metaphor is the bus. The bus is the mind, right? See that? The passengers are the thoughts, sensations, and emotions, right? Like in the bus, the passengers gets on, gets off, right?
Yeah.
And some passengers are very calm, peaceful. Some are very agitated and disruptive, right? Like the thoughts in our life, some thoughts are very, very disturbing. Some are very calm, peaceful. But you, the mindfulness, right? The driver, you're the driver who's mindfulness, control the navigate the direction of the bus. You're the driver, right? So how you want to drive, how you want this bus to go, where you want to go. So you're the driver, you're the mindfulness part, and you have the control of it, right? Passengers will get on, passengers will get off. Right?
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So every moment, some passenger will make comments, some passenger will say thank you, but then you will say have a good day. Someone will say something nasty things. Sorry, you have a good day, right? So
is that really what you'd say?
Not sarcastic, but really, I can take it to the next level. That from my wisdom tradition, where people will say, hey, someone who's very, very nasty and very hurtful and angry and agitated, we have to be more compassionate to that person. I think we covered that in one of the episode. Say, sincerely listen, right? Really listen and look in their eyes, connect with them. And then even the tone, we have to be really careful, because that's when they are ready to blow out, right? So then just say, okay, I understand. I'm sorry what you're going through, and then, and then try to see what you can do to help this situation. And be mindful, because the other person is totally off, right? So putting yourself in his shoes, because we've all been there, and then try to connect with them. You will see that the other person's, you have totally influenced that person's energy, but it may not be like this, but you have impacted that. We in wisdom traditions will say that when someone is in love, someone is in compassion, someone is in kind, the energy is up here. I'm just, stretching my hand up here.
Is or isn't?
Is up there.
Yeah.
It's high.
Yeah.
It's a high vibration state. When someone is unhappy, someone is nasty, and someone is angry and all that, the energy is low. That's why we feel drained when after getting, mad and angry, we feel drained, right? Energy drain. So I cannot show you in this, but that's what they say, that it's like first level, the top level energy, which is the kindness, compassion, and forgiving. That energy up there, you're up there. And the low level, the lowest basement is where you're angry, agitated, and all that. You can't be at two places at one time, right? So you take that high road and just be more forgiving to the person or to the situation, right? And be kind to yourself as well. Be kind to the situation and say, I'm sorry. Yeah, connect with them. And that's where the bus driver metaphor comes in, right? So like thoughts come in and go. On the bus, passengers come in and go. Like the bus driver who's driving mindfully, navigating through the city traffic, you are in charge of it. You are the captain of it. You're in control of it, not the passengers. You're not hijacked by the passengers. Like that, your thoughts and emotions and sensations shouldn't hijack you totally, right? So you are control. So mindfulness is one of the techniques in Buddhist meditation practice. There's a lot of mindfulness techniques too. Within the mindfulness, there are a lot of so meditation is a set of practice, right? It's you have to set a dedicated time, set a time aside, and then you have a whole practice to do. Some, whole package is there to do meditation. So within that, there is this mindfulness of breathing meditation. You can add that one, the pause meditation. Pause for a moment meditation, you can say that.
Going back a hair, the question would be then, who's driving your bus, right? If mindfulness isn't driving your bus, is anger driving your bus, or is narcissism driving your bus? And how in control is everybody of who's driving their bus? That'd be more of a psychology type experiment there. I think there's some thought that at certain points in our lives, we don't have full control of who's driving our bus. Other times we do have more control, or we're aware of it more. When we're very young, maybe not as much awareness or control. Hopefully older, we do have more, because we're driving a bigger bus and it's got more consequences. But I like that, the mindfulness. Mr. Mindfulness bus driver.
I've been.
Do you use that with your people that you train?
Yeah, I do. I use
That's
different
good.
analogy, different metaphor. I've been doing this for many years now, and if it is, most of the time it works. But if it doesn't work, I will see why it is not working, and then I try to implement it. But often, they'll come back the next day and say thank you. I gained some wisdom from there, and we learn each other. So, and that's what I, enjoy in what I do, is that sometimes I get to share my experience and see whether it could help the other person in their life.
Can I ask you a question about your meditation? Kind of routine or package, or how you say it, process? Is it the same every day? Or do you have a different, do you flex it, what you include in it and how you go about it depending on what kind of moment you're having, or where you are in your life, or what your spirit needs at that moment?
So we have to be, I'm talking to you in English, so we have to be clear in what words we're saying and what it means, right? So when you're saying meditation, and now we're also saying mindfulness, so mindfulness is just a way of being, right? Everywhere you go, be mindful. You go with mindfulness. So, and both are complementing each other. I see it, and it should be. But meditation is to strengthen that mindfulness practice, and there are different types of meditation. So we talk about transcendental meditation. We talk about different meditation. I can go. I see you pointing fingers, so just about distracted. So I want to pause here. You have a question.
I love that you said you go with mindfulness, and so right away my mind is shifted from meditation being something that you're going to sit and do on the floor of your house at 6 o'clock every morning, right? Instead, it's actually more, we carry ourselves with mindfulness. We carry this little careful egg of mindfulness around with us throughout the day. And everything, every interaction we have, every goal we try to achieve, every interaction is colored with that mindfulness. I love that. That's really a good.
And now I'm talking to someone when I'm talking to someone who's in the U.S., who's not from Tibet, or someone whose upbringing is not a Tibetan Buddhist upbringing, and then I have to connect to see what the person values and what he sees as purpose and meaning in life, right? So I'm trying to connect with, trying to understand that, and then try to shape my conversation towards. So if the goal is to drive a bus to reach the destination in a timely and reliable, manner, and then I will use those purposes, meaning that the person, it matters to that person, and I will just shape the conversation and bring mindfulness along the way, so that the destination is getting there to the final destination, to get there. But at the same time, I'm incorporating those to use as a tool to understand there's a commonality between all of us, no matter what culture we came from, right? There's at the bottom there's we are all humans. We all have the common ground, I believe. Outside, there's a culture, there's a tradition, there's different countries have different characteristics and different religion and society and such. So let's not get hung on to that out thing. But we can use those. It's beautiful. We have it. Embrace it. Like it. I like the diversity part. But so glued and identified with that one thing and say, oh, you know what? This is the best one. Mine is the best, and this is the highest one. And that's where you're not able to connect with the other person's true self or whatever he's going through. We can get to that, but in meditation, in Tibetan Buddhism, we call it, I think I covered in one of the episodes, it's kom gyaba, kompa. So familiarize. So familiarize with what? Familiarize with what the body sensations, what mind, what thoughts. Familiarize with your mind. So once you know that, oh, the mind. So you keep checking your mind all the time. You come back to who you are within. So you every time, come back home, like returning to home. And that's familiarization is called kom. This is just kom. But this is just a loose fashion explanation of kom from my way of saying it. Broadly speaking, in Tibetan Buddhism, I know it's too much to go at this time, but maybe I've touched that a long time ago in an episode, one of the episodes. It's called tranquil meditation, which is kind of a calm, abiding meditation. It's one set of meditation. Another set of meditation is called insightful meditation, and that's a higher form of meditation. Insightful meditation and calm abiding meditation. Calm abiding meditation is the preliminary stage meditation. One has to have that to be to be graduated to insightful meditation. But the calm abiding meditation, which we call in the Western world right now, with so much popular, we are so hung on to the tools of different tools we use in calming our mind to be stable, to be stable, right? So there are different techniques, and so we have to know which techniques works for you, and so broadly these are categorized into, not that I'm saying that that's it, but when we get to this empirically, the goal of that Buddhist is to trying to know the true nature of the mind. And they say that once you know through meditation what is the true nature of mind, what is this mind, and then you will know, here, right? So they will say, you awakened now, awakened from deep slumber, sleep, or deep ignorance. Oh, so conditioned. I just saw myself, right? That's the point of meditation, is to wake up, to awaken yourself. That's the goal, that's the path that I've learned in Buddhism, to free yourself from all these bondages of conditioning. And that's where they're going. In this modern day, in this time, that's not, I don't teach that way, or I don't talk like that. I just say, hey, be mindful what's going on, right? Be mindful, be mindful, and that's good enough. And be in the present moment, like what we are doing right now. Like I was telling you before the podcast started, that the Tibet Dharma Dreams and Donuts, two dudes talking Dharma Dreams and Donuts, and we talk most of the time we talk about meditation, and this. Not having a script and be in the moment perfectly aligns with the motto or the vision of the Tibet USA podcast, is that we're in the moment and exploring and growing, see what will come out from this moment, and we're sharing it, and it's interesting to be that way. Then script it and then go by the script, which is not working for me, at least. Take it over, Mark. Thank you for listening.
I love how Phuntsok just hands the discussion over to me as if I have a great place to to go with it. I'm feeling like an empty slate. More and more these days.
Mindfulness music as a tool.
Yeah.
You can use breathing as a tool, mantra as a tool, mindfulness as a tool. What do you want to focus on? And you bring different tools you can use to be centered yourself, to stay grounded. When I said to grounded, so how do you connect with this?
Well, a question, yes, thank you. A question I had when you were talking was, you said in these days people focus on the tools just needed to get into the calm state. And that's to hopefully prepare people to get to the, it wasn't insightful meditation, right? But my question is, do you think that everybody's focused on that calm state because nobody knows how to get calm, and because the world moves so fast and it's crazy, and we've lost the ability to calm down because of the devices in our hands and all the dots we're trying to connect with, trying to get everybody's approval on social media or accomplish A, B, C, D, E in your life, a very singularly, almost self-absorbed focus that we have, I don't know, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, in the East, in the West, was it easier for people to focus, to calm? I don't know.
I wasn't born 2,500 years ago when Buddha was said to be alive, and he preached. He got enlightened, and I don't know what the vibration is like, but I can say the time when I was born and until now, I know every day is a different situation. Every time, every location has different vibration, but this day and age, the vibration is certainly there's a lot of distractions, and there is more reason why we have to be more mindful than back then we used to be. And that's what I think. If you're not careful, there's a lot of distractions that you cannot connect to your true self within.
I think the capacity to know yourself is just as great as it's ever been. I feel like there are more obstacles, but they're just the same obstacles that have always been there, trying to achieve outer things instead of focusing on inner things. That's always been there. It's just more colorful now with our screens. It's more momentarily tantalizing because it's very easy to lose yourself and to not even know yourself from the beginning, because we're giving kids phones and access to everything, which isn't an enemy in itself, but how we do it is, I feel like mindfulness for me is being deliberate about who I'm spending time with. I think that's a choice that I am learning to make that helps keep me mindful, because if I'm with mindful people doing something intentional, even if it's just simple like going on a walk, or having conversations like this with Phuntsok, Tibet, USA, I feel like that's something that helps keep me mindful, instead of chasing down other things that might be more have more frills or flashing lights or whatever. Let that person drive the bus for me. Music, as we talked about last week, is a mindfulness space for me. It's a mindful space.
certain music or any music? You have everybody has their preference, right?
I know.
To certain music for certain people will center themselves, brings that calm, abiding, peaceful, insightful. It could do n number of things based on of whatever the person's vibration is.
Oh yeah, music can
Different
rile you up. I mean, we're even looking at. Are we talking about listening to music or making it, or going to a show and watching it, being a part of that moment? There's all these different experiences of music, and for me, I sort of am divided into the Mark that makes music and the Mark that appreciates music. And sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. But making music, for me, is a space that oftentimes can be a mindful space. It can also be a space that's sabotaged by the people on my bus, the sabotaged by ego or ambition or making my feelings heard over other people's feelings, right? And I don't think that's a healthy thing, But just pure creation, I think that's when we get closest to God and closest to the Maker, and the spirit that unites all humans, I think, broadly. There's a spirit that inhabits each one of us. And different cultures have different explanations for where that spirit comes from, or what that spirit is, or how it acts, or what it does. I think it's like this great reservoir that feeds all of us while we're alive, and while we're not living, it carries those dreams forward into other people that are yet to be born. And it's kind of like sort of animistic. I think trees and water and rocks and wind, I think these are all part of that spirit, And I think Christianity would call it the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
But I don't find a lot of support in Scripture for animism. Although Jesus does say at one point that the rocks and the trees would call out to him. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. But I believe the Spirit of God inhabits every living thing, including our dogs and our cats and our birds and the worms and the elephants and the snakes and the beetles and the Rolling Stones. No, wait a second. Back to music. But
music is more like sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Buddhists have their mantras chanting. By chanting that sound, that mantra, that melody brings them this calm, abiding state. And like that, I'm sure in your pursuit of creating music and different albums there, right? I'm sure other people who are great musicians there, they also may have this aha moment, like they felt like they transcended the mind, right? They get from that, musical, whatever those tunes or those all these different that they connect, and then they get that moment. So for music for them is the tool that they use to transcend that, to get into that zone. That's what I was saying, is that different cultures and all of that exists on the superficial surface level, but when we transcend that, we go there, and that's what that's the empirical state where now it's not entangled with the frills, or whatever you said, these different cultures or different conditioning, and now you are in that state. So when they say that once you are in that state, once you leave behind, while they are there, emotions, sensations, thoughts are images there, but you transcended that. Now you're in that zone, and viewing from that stage,
perspective. Yeah.
that state, you see that one, and then function that way. That's even that will prevent us from a lot of mishaps, or what they call it.
I think so.
Disasters or stress, or
it creates
trauma or something. Yeah.
It creates a familiarity with one another and an identification of other people's journey and struggles and joys and perspectives. It's kind of like that pause for me. Creating music has been like a pause for me, where it allows me to stop time and focus on a feeling I have, or even a phrase that I have in my head, or a musical melody that occurs to me, and I can just focus on that for an hour. It's a meditation where I can stop the world. And I think I've always felt rushed by the world. I certainly don't get along with the clock. I hate the clock, time. So when you're making music and when you're writing a piece of music, composing a piece of music, you're effectively, I feel like I'm stopping time, and I'm able to just to really look closely at this thing, this little feeling, this little tiny, almost like a little firefly inside me. And if I ignore it, it still may fly around, but I'm not noticing it. I want to notice it. And I want to, And a song, then you create a song based on that little tiny firefly you see flying inside you, or maybe you see a firefly in somebody else. And those are the best songs because they're not about you, but they're from your perspective, lifting somebody else up. And then that little moment gets to live forever as its own little moment. You're creating something that wasn't there. And it's a very spiritual experience.
Beautiful.
And that connects us back to, I think, what I was trying to say before, which I lost the thread of and I just found again. It connects us to the great creator. Because he's, or she, in Christian tradition, God created man, woman, earth, sky, light, dark, pain, joy. And when I create something, I'm acting out of the same well that God acted out of. I am one with God. And not from a power trip way, but in a way that is fully embracing the God that's in me.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
And the God is in everybody. And that's creativity to me in general. It could be creativity making a work of visual art. It could be creativity of Phuntsok training his bus drivers to drive, to think mindfully, right? That's creativity.
I drive my own car. I don't have a bus driver. Yeah. It's not mine. I work.
But you have a chauffeur. This is how you train your chauffeur.
Actually,
this is the truth about Phuntsok.
I have
very highbrow.
Great respect for my team, especially city bus operators. They're doing a great job. Such a great job of helping the community, taking people to their work, to medical appointments, to the school. They're doing great. At the same time, they're not the only person. We see them that they are the one on the seat. They're driving the bus, but behind that, there are a lot of teamwork there. Mechanics, there, the fuelers, there, cleaners, there, schedulers, they're dispatchers, they're business system analysts, they're customer relations, they're police, they're a lot of people there. And when they're driving the big bus, they know that they're representing them, they're representing the company, they're representing, and they're in the forefront. But behind that, a lot of people, a lot of teamwork there, and that's why, and they know that there's a big responsibility on them to represent well and doing great things that they do, and then helping the public there, right? So public has all people who are riding the bus. They have great respect for the drivers because they're out there doing that, right? So they have to be they deserve more respect than what they're getting now. But but having said that, the operators have to be also the drivers also be thinking that it's not they're just the only one, because
Yeah.
a lot of people made this possible to have this bus running on the street.
Oh, yeah.
And picking up that, so this is such a teamwork, right? Just when you said the God's creation and it's something you said, I remember something. So if I don't say it, I forget. So I met this police, right? And I sometimes meet with the police, have a cup of tea, or in a break time, or in my
Coffee
office.
and a donut, maybe?
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about Dharma and dreams too?
So, shout out to Steven. He's a cop in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's Metro Transit Police. I met him twice now, and I think maybe long before we met for a short period of time. But that's when I know that he's more than what it's portraying or seeing. So he gave me this line. Can I share this line to you? I really like that. He said, "Grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change." Actually, he said, "God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference." Have you heard? You must have heard this.
Yeah, I believe they use that mantra, that saying in AA, in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's
Are you saying
kind of
my
their
friend
credo.
Stephen, please, is from AA? No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe
cut that out.
Maybe he draws the power from
No.
from that saying. It's a powerful saying.
Yeah.
I think they use it in AA and other.
Maybe you have that background from AA.
You bet I do.
Oh,
Well,
just
no.
kidding. And just go ahead. So that's from the Bible.
So good. No, it's not. I think it was. We could look into it. We'll get some comments about this. But
When they say God, then I just thought it must be from God.
well, I think Alcoholics Anonymous is an organization that that maybe doesn't identify God, but does say that there's a higher power beyond us, and that's what we have to rely on. And it may just be kind of loosely understood as God. I don't exactly know. So those of you who are in AA or know people who have been in AA, enlighten us. Let us know what your experience has been with that. But that's where I first heard it, was when people were talking to me about their experiences in AA, and they have that saying. And it's great. It's so good. What is it again? Hit me with it again. May God grant me the serenity.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Accept the things you cannot change.
Courage to change the things I can.
Courage to change the things that we can.
And wisdom to know the difference.
And wisdom to know the difference, which is the big money part.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Shout out to Stephen.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. That's awesome.
That's the pause meditation there. So when you feel that people are unreasonable, and repeat this mantra there, and then you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Sometimes I am also like that. I just say thank you for the experience. So when I'm in a situation or circumstances where it's
Difficult?
difficult.
Yeah.
And I'll say, take a deep breath. Thank you.
I think that's a really unique
When
perspective.
I say thank you for the experience, first the thoughts are just the thoughts, right? Mind is saying thank you. I don't really feel it, right? I just want to say thank you for the situation.
You want to say thank you, want to say something else, thank you, something else in there, right?
Thank you for the situation, right? And then more I say it, the thoughts, it slowly translates
Becomes
into feeling.
real.
Feeling.
Ah, yeah.
And I feel it. I say, thank you. Thank you.
Huh.
I say it. So it's thought can trigger the feelings. So by saying it first, it helps because we have to feel it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel it. First I say it a couple of times and then
So you're making it real by saying it.
so appreciative of it because there's something to learn. There's always, like I said in the last episode, like so much things that we can be grateful for, but we overlooked and then became very negative, pessimistic, or crappy. So rather focus on the blessings and see what did you learn from that? What I'm grateful for. Sometimes some situations are very rough and tough. Very difficult, and you may not see the blessings in that at that moment, but 2 years later or a year later or a little while, and then you will say, yeah, I'm so grateful. This happened to me. Had I not happened that not happened, this wouldn't have that I'm now, this wouldn't have been possible without that experience. So sometimes I have had experiences which I'm grateful for because without that, I wouldn't have got that one. So there are a lot of episodes like that. So it's always pause and do a gratefulness meditation. So focus on, shift on that. Because sometimes we get overwhelmed with stress, with anger. And then say, you know what? Let me pause here, right? And pause to do what? You can pause and do a body scan. Body scanning? Scanning from head to toe. Mindfulness from head to toe. You can pick a certain region of your body. Think of the forehead or your feet or hands. Or you can use also breath as a mindfulness technique to center yourself, right? And then do the gratefulness meditation. It's not an escapism, but there's a lot of benefits I could draw emotionally, physically, mentally. Life is too short. Rather than, it's, damn, they've made a mistake. This shouldn't happen. Of course, we have to do the things to make it better. We have to take the steps to make it better. But how we say it and how we approach it, and when we have to approach it, all taking into consideration. It's something to think about. I see a benefit in that, and not just because I'm from that wisdom tradition, but I'm sharing this because breathing and being in the moment is a human thing. It's not a Buddhist thing or Hindu's thing or Christian thing or one culture. We all breathe. We all have, life going on, right? I'm trying to be careful these days not to go too deep into the meditation part because I have to be mindful of the listeners, the audience, because they may not be able to connect to what I'm trying to say. Because some of the things that I say is too, it's too far into that other extreme, which is okay for me because of my experience, but may not be okay at this point of time because we have to build the platform first.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how about we? I think our listeners would go there with you. That's my opinion. But I was going to say, just before you said build the platform, I said, we'll take them there. How about that? We'll take them there. We'll get there. That's nice. You drive the bus, we'll get on, and you can take us there sometime. I was trying to use your analogy for the bus driver. It didn't work.
That's not the one.
That's not the one. And that's why Phuntsok is driving that Tibet USA bus, everybody.
Okay. I'll take that one. Different... go ahead.
I was going to start to wrap up. You're not ready to wrap up, are you?
The different metaphors. The bus driver metaphor is just this modern metaphor. But in my wisdom tradition, we have a metaphor for the mindfulness, like, let me put it like this. The clouds in the sky, like our consciousness, pure consciousness is the sky, right? It's the sky. And the clouds are like the thoughts, emotions, sensations. The clouds will come and clouds will go. The sky remains. This mindfulness, this awareness remains. You see what I'm trying to connect with the
yeah, it's
metaphor?
a perfect. It's a perfect companion to the bus.
Yeah. So I have to see who I'm talking to, and so I can use this to a Tibetan, or I can say the waves and the oceans, the protocol and the metaphor.
Yeah, if you're talking to a sailor, you got that one figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking to a farmer, it's the field. The fields are going to have weeds come up. The fields are going to have good stuff come up that you can eat. It's going to have rodents come in there stealing your goodies. It's going to have crop dusters flying over.
Time now these days, these are time that in this day and age, I think mindfulness practice is very important tool one should have with you all the time. When you are going to work, when you're driving, or when you're doing laundry, or when you're cooking, wherever you go, I think mindfulness practices. I do that when I do a laundry. I do that, and even at work, when I go in someone's office, I don't know, I shouldn't how to say it. I'm trying to be mindful of my sensations and feelings and all of that. To be intuitive enough to know the other person's energy and feel the person, right? And then do whatever I need to do the complete meeting, and then come back to my meeting, my office, in my place, to restore my balance. This is the first time I'm saying like this. So anyway, mindfulness has to be with me all the time. I cannot, the moment I leave my mindfulness away from me, and then that's when I just like, what just happened?
Yeah. Well, missteps, like you said, that's when we get in too deep, or we're not sensitive to other people, or whatever.
For that, sometimes some people need to go to Italy, like you, maybe some to place where they can feel more grounded. I'll go to Nepal, to the place where I, struggled, and then gives me the perspective, brings me more centered. Even though the shops that I go and enjoy nice tea used to have like this slogans or this written there, customers are like the gods, customers are gods. Now they change it to signs like CCTV cameras are recording.
Yeah.
It's like, what just happened now? The times are changing. Back then I used to feel very valued. Now I go and I feel like I'm being watched. So the times are changing, so we have to adapt.
Well, let's keep changing with those times. Phuntsok, I think we should let our listeners go for the day. Is that okay? I love that you wrapped up the mindfulness podcast episode on ways that we could find mindfulness in our daily lives. Like find a moment when you're folding your laundry, or when you're doing
cooking
your dishes, or when you're cooking, or when you're taking your dog out for a walk, and you're serving that other creation for half an hour, not you, right? I'm serving my beagle Artie when I'm taking her on a walk. It's her walk. That's a mindfulness of sorts, right? It's removing the focus from me to putting it somewhere else. So I like that. There's tools with that. So we'll probably tackle more of those as we go. But thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
Mindfulness.
Without you, I don't get to share. So I'm grateful for you. Thank you, Mark. I'm grateful. I know how much I'm grateful that I'm sitting across you here and have this podcast.
Is this a setup? How much are you grateful? Is it a joke?
Mark and your humor, that's what I'm grateful for.
It's so not funny.
I gotta loosen up and...
You don't have very high expectations, do you?
No, that's not the way I meant.
Phuntsok, it's a joy to sit across from you. I love it. And I love you, and I love our listeners. Thank you for being with us on this journey. I hope we have many, many, many more walks together.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mark. And we'll wrap up this here.